All right. Welcome, everybody. So we have Dawn, Amber, and Amy who are going to share tonight on, we'll call this sort of the Hawaii Hustlers Emerald Panel. And so we'll go ahead and jump right into the questions. And I'm first going to ask, I kind of like each of us to answer this. Let's see. The first one will be, why did you get started with Plexus? And when did you realize this was really going to be a serious business? And I'll start with Amber.
Okay, what was it again? Why did I start?
Yeah, why did you originally start with Plexus, and at what point did you realize it was going to be a serious business for you?
Okay, and I'm going to try to give short answers because I can be long-winded. But and let me know, it says my internet's unstable, but hopefully this will work. I actually am one of the people, the rare ones that joined for the business. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and I figured if I could make $1,000 a month with Plexus, then I would be able to stay home comfortably, and at least still contribute a little bit. So I joined December 31st, 2013 for the business. My sponsor was almost Emerald at the time, and she literally showed me her paycheck. And I was like, if I can make a tenth of what she was making, I was going to be fine. So my first month in, I just hit the ground running, telling everyone about Plexus. I actually hadn't even tried the product, so I don't necessarily recommend that, but that's proof that you don't have to be a product right away before you start sharing. And my first month, I hit my goal of what I had wanted to make to be able to quit working. So 3 months in, we decided this was actually bigger than what we ever expected, and I was able to quit my job and be a stay-at-home mom. And, I just saw what my first Emerald paycheck's gonna be, and I'm literally like floored at how much bigger of a blessing this is than I even ever expected. So.
Awesome, great. Okay, Amy, did you catch the question? Can you answer the question?
I did. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was going in and out a tiny bit, so I make sure I'm not in a bad area. So hi, everyone. I wish I could be on there to see you. I just got back from meeting with some potentials. So, So anyway, I'm on my way back. Figured it'd be safer to drive and be on the phone instead of in the video.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm kind of half and half as far as why I started. I mean, I was watching one of my really good friends. She's a Sapphire ambassador now. Her name's Amber Livesey. We were college roommates, and she had lost 50 pounds. I found her 50 pounds, and I was feeling miserable. And she, I kept liking all her stuff, and she finally is like, hey, do you want information? And I remember kind of laughing at that because I thought network marketing was just something to get like a free product. I didn't think it was anything legit. Not necessarily a scam, but anyway, I remember thinking, that's nice. But then I saw my friends starting to lose weight and people joining her, and I was just like, man, I really wanted to do the product. But we actually made $18,000 as a family of 5 in 2013. So I knew there's not a chance on earth I could afford to do any kind of supplements because I could barely afford groceries. So I knew I couldn't do it. Well, at the same time, I'm watching her, I'm looking at the products, like I'm Googling dangers of Plexus, I'm seeing all my friends do it. I'm really wanting to do the product. So that really did get my first interest. But it was when my friend Amber posted on Facebook, she said, I just got my first paycheck, or I got my paycheck with Plexus, and I made enough to do my mortgage, my car payment, and my product. And that was like, what, mortgage? Like, what in the world? You're making money with this stuff? So that was kind of half and half, because if it weren't for that post, I probably would have never really went for it. But I was at that time trying to make money, like tutoring, because I was a teacher prior to being a stay-at-home mom. I stayed home, because I had my third baby, and, we made some sacrifices. But anyway, I ended up just, telling my husband, listen, I'll just tell you, she said she made $1,100. And to me, that was huge So I told him, I don't really think I can make $1,100, but what if I can make $200? Like, that would be huge for us. And, you know, if I don't make the money to cover my products, then I won't continue. But I really wanted to try these products. And so I wasn't afraid the products wouldn't work. I was afraid they would work, and then I couldn't afford it. So I knew I needed to at least get a couple of people to do it with me. So just like Amber, I posted before I ever got my products too. And I think I turned silver my first week. And so I was gung-ho about the business right away. Like, I remember within my first week or two seeing what a Diamond Ambassador made. And I figured, wow, if it takes me 10 years to even make a tenth of what a diamond made, then I would, you know, it's still way better than I could ever do, even as a teacher. So I caught that vision pretty early, and I just was super committed from the beginning. And I ended up making more money than my friend Amber my first month with classes, because I had won some contests my team did. So I made like $700 my very first month, and then I also won a contest for $500. I was like, woohoo, made more than I thought I could. So
man, I bet your husband was excited for that. That's awesome.
I know, it's really cool.
That's cool. Okay, so I'll share my answer, you guys. It's kind of interesting. Amber, I didn't realize that. I think I signed up on December the 31st, 2013, and I also went into it for the business. So I had been, my original goal was to help pay for my oldest daughter dances. And so I was traveling a lot. I was a stay-at-home mom. I was homeschooling 5 kids and had been home for a decade. And so I hadn't worked in a long time. And the thought of trying to go out and make money, that wasn't going to happen for me because it would cost too much in childcare. Plus, I didn't want to. I mean, my husband had a business, and we were very happy with me staying home and kind of being the stay-at-home mom. But I really did want to earn just a little bit. I was like, $500, I'm good. $500 to be able to go and travel and not be so stressful in the family. So I started looking at other home-based businesses, and I sort of like, you know, I went to a candles party and a bag thing, and I was kind of like toying with the idea of some other network marketing companies, and it just kind of kept coming to, but they're not consumable. There's only so many bags that somebody can have. I can't get excited about a candle. I mean, it just wasn't me. So I just kept kind of shaking my head and walking away. And then I honestly was on Facebook one day, and I saw one Facebook post, and it was from my friend from high school. And he said something to the effect of, my wife started this home-based business called Plexus. It's been a really great income for her, and she's lost 35 pounds, and our family's super healthy. And it was just like a light bulb went off, and I thought, well, that makes a lot of sense, because what if you start getting healthy and you start losing weight? I mean, what's the first thing that people say to you? The first thing they say is, wow, you look great. What are you doing? And then you say, oh, so glad you asked. Here's my website. You can do it too. So to me, it was just a no-brainer because it made so much sense. And so I honestly, that one Facebook post, I ended up talking to his wife, which happened to be Celeste Gwynn. Didn't know her from Adam, but I knew her husband. So I had one phone call with her and just sort of asked a million questions about the business and the business model. And that was all. That's all. I think I said $133.95. Are you kidding me? I mean, $34.95 for a business. I spend that when I take my kids to Chick-fil-A. And if the products don't work, so what? I'm only out $130. So that was sort of how I went into it, kind of lightheartedly, and thought, what do you have to lose? Because you really don't have much to lose when you get into it. And so I was brand new. Virginia, like nobody had heard of Plexus. It was brand new. I was really going out on a limb, and it was, you know, January of 2014. And so I kind of sat on my products for about a month. Where I didn't really share. I was kind of just trying the products to make sure that I could really get behind it. Did a lot of research in that time. Had to sort of prove to my husband that it was a good product and that they were good ingredients. So that's kind of how I spent the first part of my the first part. And in that time, really poured myself into calls and like getting in on some of the team calls. And the turning point for me, where I really started to understand the vision of network marketing, and I started to really get my belief, is I got on a call. Sarah Marble actually had scheduled these calls with several network marketing gurus. And they were recorded calls, and so I would listen to them. And there was one in particular by Art Jonak. And all of them were just talking about how network marketing was just an enormous compensation plan, an enormous opportunity. And this, so my vision just kind of widened every time I heard this stuff. And I thought, wow, these people are doing this home-based business and they're getting behind a product and they're making, you know, like crazy money. Like, oh my gosh. So I just started to really dream big from the very beginning. And I heard Art Jonek say, when you're ready to go for it, draw your line in the sand. And when you step over that line, you just keep moving forward. You put your blinders on and you just keep on going forward. And to me, that was a great visual. And so I just imagined that line in the sand. I stepped over it and just went full speed ahead. Really starting in January of 2014, or really February of 2014, and just really got into the business and treated it from the very beginning like I was a professional, like it was going to be my thing, and I was just going to just go for it. And it was never a hobby for me once I really decided to go for it. So I probably think that it sounds like Amber and Amy might have the same, sort of had the same kind of approach. Okay, so that was definitely. Let's see. Next question. Okay, this is a fun question. I'll start with Amber, with you. If you could go back to yourself at senior goals, what advice would you give to yourself?
Let's see. That's a good one. I would say just keep moving forward. You know, I think for a lot of people, you get to gold, you get to senior gold, and you see all these people and then these potentials on your team, and you're like, okay, guys, we have this team, like, let's just run now. And if you can do that, and if you have some runners already established, that is amazing. But you always need to be in recruiting mode. You are always, you know, trying to add to your team. I think it's easy to get to gold and just kind of be like, okay, like, go do that now. Everyone go gold and we'll be good. And you just have to keep in the mindset that you're building your business regardless of if people are coming with you or not. And that was something I didn't do right away. Like, I tried to encourage people to come with me, and I tried to motivate them, and I tried to get them excited. And I think there's a lot to, like, speaking belief into your team and showing them the vision. But once you've done that, it's up to them to decide if they want it at that time or not. So I had to get to the point where I was like, okay, you guys, the train is leaving the station. I am leaving. I am moving forward. If you want to come with me, jump on. We are going to do this. But if not, you know, you can always jump on later. But I'm not going to sit in the station and wait for somebody to be ready. So that's probably my best advice for at that level.
Good answer. Okay, Amy, what about you?
I definitely agree with Amber. I mean, one of the mistakes that I made is I was kind of wanting it for people more than they wanted it for themselves. And I was kind of dragging those along. Like, I thought, okay, my runners, they're good. They don't need me as much. So, but this person, come on. And it was frustrating because, like I said, you can't, like Amber said, you can't force it. So I would say run with your runners, like be there for people, of course. Now I pretty much try to match people's effort. Another thing I try to do differently is I was, you know, partly learning as I go. I turned gold my second month, so I turned gold pretty quickly. I feel like I was just sort of learning. I still feel like I'm kind of just learning. But I feel like you've got to get people to make money right away. So I was like queen of recruiting. I was adding like 8 to 10 people myself a month, and I'd, you know, be like, okay, do what I did. You know, I'm very self-motivated, so I would just kind of expect people to do it. But if now, like, what I would do is I would train them, like Amber said, like give them a good week or two of sit with them, do a launch party, set the expectation for people that you need to be silver in a week, or like at least this month. When you set that expectation right away, people will do it, you know? And I just feel like initially pour yourself into your people, but then it's kind of just like Amber said, it's up to them. Another quick thing that I would do is I kind of did too much for my team. Like, I was always the one hosting the event. I was always the one doing, you know, the 3-way calls. I was the one running the Facebook parties. But I actually, Dawn, I think it was this group, like our group of the senior Rubies, when it finally clicked, like the people, we have some really talented, amazing people on our team. Like, they are more than capable of running a Facebook party. Like, when I kind of started like delegating or telling people, hey, you know what, I know you can do this. You guys run this. Here's the, you know, when I started like stop being the only one to do stuff and I let people be leaders, that was huge. I mean, I'm telling you, I probably have 8 to 10 really strong leaders ever since I kind of changed that mindset, who are now like, they're the leaders. Like, they're hosting their stuff. They've got their team pages. They're, you know, and that's really been a game changer for me.
That's good. I think I would definitely agree with both of those. Absolutely. Definitely not for me. I had a tendency at that level, like gold level, senior gold level, to make the same assumption probably Amy did, like, oh, well, I got it. I went out and on, you know, having sort of that self-discipline to go out and that self-motivation and caught belief right away. And I think it helped pouring myself into the understanding the network marketing business model and getting really excited about that. And I'm sure it also helped having a sponsor that was super successful. And so I could really see her and all of her friends who were all diamonds and just killing it. And so my belief was built very quickly, but I didn't realize that wasn't going to be the case for everybody that came onto my team. And so I made this assumption early on that it would be the case. And if I just sent them some training documents and told them to get on some team calls, that they were going to be really excited too. And it took me a while to really learn that it was my job as a leader to help build their belief and to pour that belief into them. And a game changer for me was when I saw that 4-quadrant belief, and probably you guys have seen it because we've talked about it before, but understanding that there was 4 areas of belief that all new ambassadors needed to have unshakable belief with, and that is belief in the products, belief in network marketing, belief in the company, and then belief in themselves. And so when I wrapped my brain around that, and from the very beginning, I start talking to my new people now about what their belief looks like in those 4 areas and having them sort of rate themselves. And so if they're a 10 on products and they're like a 5 on network marketing, then that kind of shows me and them that that's going to be something we need to work on. And so just being intentional about, from the very beginning, laying the foundation of belief, because I say this a lot. I say you can give somebody the tools all day long, and we can talk about DMO and IPA and the right verbiage and all the stuff. We have the tools. That's easy. But if they don't have the unshakable belief first, all the tools in the world are not going to make them step out of their comfort zone to talk to somebody about Plexus. They're not going to have the passion and the enthusiasm that they need to attract the people to get on their teams or to become customers. And so really identifying that, I wish I had gotten that a long time before I finally did. It took me probably to senior Ruby and really starting to dig in to understand that part. So I would have done that differently. And then I also think that even at silver and gold and senior gold, I would have liked to have started really studying leadership sooner. Because I think that has a lot, when you really start to pour into like the John Maxwell leadership stuff and all of the wonderful resources out there, you start to really self-reflect and you start to consider, like, who am I and what kind of leaders do I want to be? And, you know, you start to see what your strengths are, but also your weaknesses. And that's a good thing. And I didn't really kind of get to that point until I was a lot farther along in my journey. And I think if I had done that sooner, maybe I wouldn't have struggles, because I stayed at senior Ruby for a year. I mean, most of you guys know that. And so that was all about self-development and reflection. So yeah, that's what I would say. Let's see. Yeah, can you say the 4 areas of belief again? Sure. The 4 areas, certainly, yes, yourself. You have to have unshakable belief in yourself, knowing that absolutely you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. Unshakable belief in the products, the company, and network marketing. Oh, Amber said it. Oh my gosh, I'm so silly.
Teamwork.
I'm like talking and waving my hands and reading, and that's so funny. So would you recommend self-help books to your runners early? Absolutely. And I think there's a really good one that I think Sonia Dudley's doing a training on right now called like What to Say to Yourself. I'm sure somebody really knows that.
Yeah, what to say when you talk to yourself.
What to say when you talk to yourself. That's a really good one. And I'm actually I'm having my team do that. A lot of people have already done it, but that's a really good one. And yeah, just constantly telling people like, you can do this. And just because I think that there's, especially women, there might be men on this call, it's probably mostly women, we have a tendency to just, in general, just be really hard, and we're a lot harder on ourselves than probably other people are. And so a lot of girls and women go into this business with that lack of belief in themselves. And so I think from the very beginning, really pouring into them. And sometimes as a leader, you're going to see something in somebody that you think is really awesome that they don't see in themselves. And so a really, being a good leader is one that where you can see somebody and you can point out their gifts and their strengths, and then you tell them what their gifts and their strengths are, and then you help them develop them. And then like what Amy was saying with delegation, then try to put them in a position where they can use their gifts and their strengths to, and help the team. And that, I think that's really great for people to build belief in themselves. You guys have anything to add to that, Amber, Amy?
No, I think that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think you did. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's see. Let's talk about duplication. We've been talking a little bit about that, but duplication, when you sponsor someone, how do you help them get started right away? We kind of touched on it, but anything we want to add to that? Amber, go ahead.
I think the biggest thing is just getting them plugged in right away. I think I've made the mistake when I first started signing people where I'm like, well, the first mistake I made was information overload. I would just send tons of information and probably overwhelm them. And then wonder why they never wanted to reach back out to me. And then I went the complete opposite direction, and I was like, okay, well, I don't want to overwhelm them. So now I'm just going to sign them up and leave them alone. And then I wondered why they weren't being successful, So now I've found a happier medium where I give them good information to get started that's not overwhelming, but then I get them plugged in. I give them opportunities to get plugged in. We have a weekly team huddle, it's a Zoom chat. I make sure that they know when to show up for what. And then it's up to them if they want to show up for things, that's perfect. But that way, I just think getting people connected to the bigger team, even if it's not the bigger team, but if it's just me and one other person on our team, I've noticed that for my people, they tend to stick around longer and be successful if they're plugged into more people than just myself. So that's kind of my big thing, is just getting them plugged in, whether that looks like showing up for a Zoom chat, whether that's starting a 3-way message with me and my sponsor. That's probably my biggest thing, is just getting them connected, letting them know who's available to answer questions when they have them. And then obviously if they're a wholesale ambassador, treat them like a customer. You need to be following up with them, seeing how their products are going, troubleshooting, reminding them of water, because they could care less about showing up for team stuff until they've really seen the results that they're wanting if they're a wholesale customer ambassador. So
good. Okay, Amy?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's so good, Amber. It's so funny because this is so simple. None of this is going to be life-changing. You know what I mean? It is, but it's so nice to hear you and Amber, because it's exactly what I'm doing too. But I would definitely say something new that I should have been doing all along, but have really been implementing, is the 3-way calls. That has been a huge, because what happens is when somebody joins, especially if they're excited about the business, they're so gung-ho and they want to tell everyone, but then they make all the mistakes that we make, that we've all made. And then people are going to discourage them. Oh, it's a pyramid scam. It's this, it's that, and then they end up losing heart. And so I found the best thing in the world is to, kind of set the expectation for them. Let them know, okay, you need to be silver in a week. You need to be silver in 2 weeks. You can do this. I want you to get some people for me to talk to. The 3-way calls and the 3-way chats. And really another thing we've been doing, it's been so effective, is the Zoom. We do little Zoom things where, hey, I'm going to get 2 or 3 of my leaders and me, and you bring your potential, for a new person, I would say, okay, bring your mom and your sister, name at least 3 people and get them on this little call with us. And it's just super simple and short. You're just going to hear 2 or 3 stories,
Mm-hmm.
And so Amber was saying, you connect them to other people right away, and they're like, oh, it gets them excited. And for the new person, they don't feel like they have to know everything. Like, that's what I tell them. When I joined, I knew my friend lost 50 pounds, and I knew she made $1,100. That's all I knew. And I learn as I go, you know. But I would definitely say the three-way calls, and also pay attention when, you know, I help them with their first post or whatever. And obviously know their why, just like Amber was saying. If they want nothing to do with the business, they're just wholesalers, then absolutely treat them like a customer. But I still try to get them to talk to me and my sponsor or something, just so they can hear how to take the products. Like, I still try to get them on a call, at least to know how to take the products, at least to hear some other stories to build their belief and set their expectations. But I just feel like, you know, setting them up right away to make money right away, especially if they're wanting the business, that's been huge. So three-way calls in a nutshell.
Oh. I need to do more of those. I'm writing all that down. See, we always, and I'll add that too. I think always stay really, really teachable, right, guys? Some of the best things I ever did was just kind of reach out to sidelines and learn from others. And I know even now, I'm like, a call, I got to listen to that recording, because you know, there's always something that you learn. There's always something that you're like, you have an aha moment. Oh my, I got to try that. I need to do that better. So that's good. Let's see if do we have any more questions submitted? No. Okay, let's see. How do you guys, we know that it's the quality of people matter. I mean, having the right people on your team really makes a successful team. How do you go about attracting the right people and who you really want to run with?
I would say for me, honestly, you always want to be yourself, you know, be yourself, and you're going to attract like-minded people. But that being said, like Dawn was talking about earlier, there is some personal growth that needs to happen. You know, like if you want to be attracting these rock stars who have mindsets that are just going to go straight to the top, then you need to be pouring into yourself and growing in that way if you're not there yet. So I know for me, like I'm just a big believer that leaders are readers, you know, like you need to be reading something at all times, obviously not all times, but like you need to have a book that you're reading at all times. And then just think about who you're trying to attract onto your team. Like I know for me personally, like I have a variety of people on my team, but I know the majority of the people I'm attracting to my team are, you know, moms that want more in life, you know, whether that is to stay home or retire their husband or to get their kids through college. You know, I'm very passionate about moms and having them dream big again. And so I put myself in places to meet people like that. You know, my son is in soccer, and I make it a point when I'm there, I'm not talking Plexus, but I'm being open and I'm talking with people, and I'm trying to just build relationships wherever I go, that I'm going to be in contact with women that want to dream bigger. And they just don't know how that's possible. And so what happens naturally for me is I like to talk with people, and so I add them to Facebook. That's an easy way for me to get in contact with them without ever having to talk Plexus the first meeting. And it's kind of funny because I'm now Emerald, and I still don't talk Plexus the first time I talk to somebody, you know, unless they're clearly saying like, I need a blood sugar stable, you know, if they're saying like, I am diabetic and I need something, then I feel obligated to talk to them about Plexus. But it's really about building relationships. That's how I look at it. And I want to know the person better. And so I add people to Facebook, but I put myself in situations that I'm going to be around people that I know have something that would be amazing at this, but also would love Plexus once they realize what it has to offer in just the grand scheme of life. So hopefully that makes sense.
That's a great answer. Yeah, Amy?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that too, Amber. I mean, it's funny, like, your attitude has so much to do with it too. Like, I used to feel like, it's like whatever you're feeling kind of comes through, because I used, especially when I was joining, I'd be like, okay, just join, like anybody, I don't care, you know. I was just like so focused on just getting someone to join. But I kind of don't do that anymore because white lines really upset me. Isn't kidding, but, well, not really kidding. But anyway, the way now I kind of qualify people in my mind. I realize the business literally isn't for everyone, and some people really are better as customers. And if I can tell someone's kind of super negative, and you can just tell that it's not going to work just because they don't ever want something to work, like, they really need to try it first and be able to get that money back guarantee. And when I am not as desperate, like, just as an example, especially, you learn as you go. Like, when I sound like I'm begging someone to join my team, I feel like, this is going to sound bad, and I don't mean it this way, I don't know how to put it, but almost like they have the upper hand. I don't mean it that in a bad way, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know, but I feel like when I'm more like, when I take the authority, like, I'm not sure if this is for you or not, and I kind of, it's weird, like, it's like some people, like, they don't beg me to be on my team, but I don't know if that's making any sense, but it's kind of like when I take that authority of, like, I'm not sure if this is for you or not, let me ask you a couple questions and see if this might be something you can do or whatever. And I've even said to people, I'm not sure, like, maybe you need to try this as a customer first. And when I put it that way, like, sometimes I've had people try to convince me of why they should do it. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm not as desperate. Like, you just can't be desperate. You've got to choose who you really do want to work with, because when you do have someone on your team that's totally draining and very negative about everything, and if you've got to convince and beg them to be on your team, you're going to have to convince and beg them to stay. And I don't want to do that. Like, I want people who want to be here. I'm not going to try to, like I said, convince someone who's dead set against not wanting it. Some people desperately need our products, and I think once you get somebody like that to feel good, then by all means, let's upgrade you as an ambassador, because now you're feeling good and now you can share passionately, whereas before, they're kind of looking for the thing to, how is this going to be negative? I don't know if that helps or not, but I definitely agree with Amber. Like, I do pour myself into people first. I do exactly what Amber says. Like, if I'm meeting someone at the playground, they're going to be my Facebook friend. Like, I already know it, We're going to find something to talk about. It's not usually Plexus either, but somehow or another, we're going to connect with something, and they're going to be my Facebook friend, and eventually they're going to see my posts, and eventually they end up joining my team. So I think your confidence comes through, like, I don't know, I can see people, and I just know, it's just your belief, I guess. I just know when someone's going to do it usually. I've been surprised, I guess. But does that make any sense? I don't know.
No, it does. And as you're talking, I pulled out my John Maxwell Laws of Leadership book, and I looked up the law of magnetism, because that's exactly what he says. And I'll just kind of read it, because I think it's really good. You've probably heard the saying, birds of a feather flock together, and maybe you've already found this to be true. When you were in school, you might have recognized that good students spent time with good students. People who only wanted to play stuck together, and so on. Well, this idea is also true when it comes to leadership. Who is on your team is seldom determined by what you want, but more by who you are. In order to build a strong team, you must understand the law of magnetism, which is what you were just saying. People are going to be attracted. And so when you when you come from a place of, like, abundance and success, and I have something that is very valuable, and it needs to be treated that way. I mean, Plexus is a wonderful gift and valuable. It definitely attracts those kinds of people. And that's why sometimes, I don't know how you guys feel, but even sometimes when we have the flash sales, or we give away the $34.95, I'll pay your membership fee. I mean, I did that a few times in the beginning. And then I never did it again, because I felt like it really cheapened our product. And I thought $34.95 is already cheap enough. I don't need to be giving this away. I want people to really understand and really take what we have and hold that and have it hold its value. So I think that was all really good.
Right. Like, something to add to that real quick, and Chris McCall said this at Leaders Retreat. We went to the Orlando one, and I'm telling you, it is so true. Like, if you give a 3-day trial away, you give it away, many times it ends up on somebody's counter in their drawer. It doesn't have any value. They don't even know, I've had that happen so many times. Where if I tell them it's $10 and they put something into it and then they're going to take it, and they're going to, it's going to be important to them. It's going to have value. So I totally agree with you there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the worst when you find out it's been sitting on their counter for a month. Like, what are you doing? It's like gold.
It doesn't mean anything.
Let's see. Let's talk about this because I think I know sometimes, and we've got 25 people on the call, and we're all at different levels. But many times when you start building a team and you become a leader, it's very easy to get kind of in manager mode because you start having other people, and especially when a lot of customer service stuff. So that's never a good place to get into. That's really a pitfall. So what do you do to avoid getting into the manager mode and still help focus on your team and helping your team, but also really staying in recruitment, building your own business mode? What are some of your strategies?
That's a tough one. And I feel like at every level, it's easy to fall into management mode. I think a big one is just getting organized and having systems in place. And I'm not naturally an organized person. Like, I like to be, fun and spontaneous and fly by the seat of my pants. But I realized, like Dawn was saying in the beginning, like, you have to realize that this is your business. And if you are going to be at the top of this company, you have to treat it like a business. And so for me, like, I just have to be very disciplined, and I'm still not great at it, and now being an emerald, it's kind of shifted a lot more. So I'm learning now how to do that. And so I think you just have to get systems in place, and you have to be organized. And obviously IPA, income producing activity, needs to be first and foremost in your workday. If that means you have 30 minutes a day to work your business, you need to spend the first 10 to 20 or 10 to 15 doing IPA, posting on Facebook, following up with people, reaching out to people. That needs to be first and foremost. And then whatever you have left, that's for following up with, a team member that has a question about a customer service issue, But for me, it's all about disciplining myself because it's easier and it's more fun for me to be in contact with my team. And I would love just to sit there and help them, with messages all day and everything. But I need to remember I always have to be growing my own personal business. And so for me, that's a discipline issue. And so just for example, now that I'm Emerald, like, I am able to help a lot more with customer service issues, but at the same time, that's not where that's not where I should spend the majority of my time if my team is going to continue to grow. And so I just I was talking with some other Emeralds, and just really trying to figure out what they're doing. And so, for example, on my team, I decided, okay, I'm going to call on behalf of our team's issues, whatever hasn't been resolved and still needs to be worked on. I'm going to spend 1 day a week is going to be designated, and it's only going to be like an hour of my time. And that might sound like I'm not doing enough for my team, but I know my strengths, and I know my energy is best spent doing other things that will grow our team as a whole. So for me, it's all about being organized and disciplined and just making sure I'm staying focused with that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Amy, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, I agree completely. It's time management. I am, like Amber said, I am not naturally a planner. I'll be honest. I've done most of this off the top of my head. I don't know how or why. I'm so thankful when my husband gets to stay home with me in May. He's actually quitting to help me do Plex full time, and he's my organizer. But I have found if you just take Sunday, just like you're telling, like in our Hawaiian Hustlers group, Dawn, you do the Sunday goals. Mm-hmm. It's that thing, you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So if I have a plan, a schedule, and I pretty much live by a timer, that to me has been the only way to survive. Like, and how I can get everything done. It's just a matter of time management, learn time management skills. So something you suggested, Dawn, has been so helpful to me. So I really appreciate it, is the customer care thing. Like, right now, we have, as you may have noticed, I'm not sure, shipping's been a little different. I have complete faith in the company. I know they're going to fix it. I have no doubt at all. But I also know I don't want one of my new people waiting on hold forever. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have the faith that I have right now. So if I'm able to call, I want to call. So I was spending a lot of my time just on the phone, just taking care of, the issues for my teams and their customers. But when I decided, like today, actually, I was like, okay, Mondays is going to be my customer care day. And I just made a thread and I went through them. And then, and that's what I did. So now the rest of this week, I am just going to, I have a planner, and I've written down who I'm following up with, my team members who I need to touch base with, you know, those kinds of things. If I have a schedule, when am I doing laundry? When am I cooking dinner? I even schedule, I have my schedule 30 minutes, putting my phone down, my daughter's home with me, playtime with Eden. Like, that to me is the only way, with no matter what you're doing. You know, even when I was a homeschool mom, I had to do that. So, yeah. So just time management.
And I think too, you know, not everybody's a great time manager. I know I'm sort of like Amber, like, let's go have fun. Let's just see what happens. And you realize you can't do that. So everything is about the personal development, personal growth. So if you would identify, ooh, I might need to work on my time management skills, my organizational skills, go find a book. There's plenty of books out there about it. You know, go find a power partner who has really great time management skills and get some ideas from them. That's where we have to self-reflect a little bit, you know? I'm sorry, Amy, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, it's okay. I think I interrupted you. But the book, Eat That Frog, that has been huge for me. Like, man, it's just basically 21 different skills of time management. You just take one or two as they come. And I'm telling you that, because I'm naturally not either. I'm so much like you. I'm always like, fly by the seat of my pants. Come on, let's go. We'll take care of that later. But you can't do that when you have if you want to be productive anyway.
Right. What was it called? Eat That Frog?
Yeah, Eat That Frog. Seriously, I forget who the author is, but it's such an easy read, and every chapter is just a new kind of idea. But the whole basis is, like, I think it's Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn. They said, how do you eat a frog? You take the nastiest, ugliest frog, you eat that one first, and then the rest doesn't seem so bad. So they said, you take whatever chore, whatever thing you have to do that day, do the worst one first. So for me, it's the dishes and laundry. If I start and I just get that done, the rest of my day's cake. Like, my laundry's done today. Whoop, I can do anything. So it's just, whatever the worst thing is, do that first and it's over with, and boom. That's just one tip out of many.
I love it. I love it. I know. I do that. I do my laundry, and then my reward is Plexus because I love it so much. I'm like, oh, 30 minutes for laundry, and then I get to go work. Yes. And I think that's part of being successful, is you got to love what you do. Let's see. Okay. And I know you have to go, Amber, so we'll finish up. And I don't think anybody gave us any questions. So can you name maybe one or two things that really changed your momentum as you were building up to getting to Emerald, that really changed your momentum and you feel like really took you to the Emerald level?
Do you want to start, Amy?
I mean, there's been so many little things. And like you said, I think just being teachable, learning as you go. But this is kind of off topic a little bit, but I feel like something that really changed my business was when my husband got on board completely. Like, I just felt like for my first year and a half, he was sort of supportive, but it was always like, you know, like, it's both of us. I was unbalanced. Like you said, Dawn, like, I could do Plexus all day. Like, it was not work to me. I would so much rather work on Plexus than clean my house. You know, like, it can just consume you. And you're not being productive when you're like that. Like, you've got to have balance. And so sometimes when he was there, I felt like I had to sneak it, you know, like, oh, let me just answer these real quick. And the kids would always see me on my phone, like, so when I finally, like, it was causing tension between us. And when you're that, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like I couldn't really do everything I was wanting to do. I felt like I couldn't even hardly talk about it in front of him. And here I was, like, I think I was even up to senior Ruby, really. I got senior Ruby without really much support from my husband. But when I sat down, and what I did was, by learning leadership skills or like personality strength, personal development, I found that we are total opposites, which I already knew, but I started to, like, speak his language because he is my organizer. I would say, listen, I need your help. You're right. Like, instead of arguing with him and getting mad at, like, you're not supporting me. Instead, I was like, why is he feeling like he was feeling left out? He was always the last thing. Like, I don't know, like, kids, of course, you have to take care of your kids, and I love my babies. But for my husband, he would always get my leftovers, and he was feeling that. He's not money motivated at all. But when I finally sat down with him and I was like, can you please help me make a schedule? I don't want to do this. It's not worth it if it's hurting my family, you know? And so when I sat down with him and he helped me write a schedule, and we decided together what my time management would be. Like, so we decided Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I'm not working Plexus in the evening. Now during the day, we scheduled an hour or so in the morning for me, but anyway. But on Tuesdays when he'd come home and we knew what to expect, like my phone was away and I'd focus on him, you know, and then Wednesdays we did Bible study. Mondays, I didn't have to feel guilty anymore. Like I didn't have to sneak anything. He knew when he came home, that was my time to work, and he did it, and he took care of everything, and he was fine. But that's all he needed was just a little extra attention from me, and we needed to have the same, like, priorities. So that was one huge thing. Another huge thing was when I earned Leader Retreat the first year, but he didn't come with me. But he did come with me the second time. And honestly, I was nervous about him coming because he's Mr. Critical about everything. And I'm like the one that's going to be jumping off my chair cheering. And he'd be the one like picking stuff apart. So it was almost like, maybe you should stay in the hotel. You know, I was thinking, I just worried that he was going to be like Mr. Grumpy. But what happened was he like the cool thing about him is he's very analytical. It's not that he's trying to be grumpy. He just has to take every little thing apart. He's got to it has to pass his little test. And he's like that with everything. But when it does pass his test, man, he's all in. So Leaders Retreat, we came home, and this was October. He said to me, this is no longer your thing. This is our thing. This is our family thing. And he said, I've been praying for a family economy. I never thought it would be this kind of thing, but this is it. So, man, when he came on board, and now my days off are Wednesdays and Fridays, so now I can work Tuesday. But I just kind of let him lead and let him be in charge, and he just had to find his way. I'm telling you, that changed everything for me, because now it's like we're doing this together, you know? Yeah. I don't know if that's exactly the answer you're looking for, but for me personally, I'm telling you, my business pretty much exploded in October, even with the crazy back office stuff. But I'm telling you, I had the best month in November. February, I just saw my financials actually while we were on the phone. I cannot even, I want to start crying. I cannot even believe, like I literally cannot believe. This is my second month with Emerald, and I'm floored. And I feel like now I can go tell him, and he's going to be so happy, you know? Yeah. So I don't know.
No, actually, as you're talking, I'm realizing that made a big difference in my business also. When the belief thing, it's the same thing we're talking about. We catch the belief early on. We want our team members to have that belief early on. We need our people in our lives, like our spouses, the people that we're going to, you know, that Plexus is also affecting, for them to have the belief. And so think about the belief quadrant for them too, and help build their belief, and building their belief at an event, building their belief by understanding network marketing, seeing the compensation plan. So if you are kind of just getting started, and I think, and you might have that roadblock, an unsupportive spouse. I think a lot of us go through that. And it's not so much that they're unsupportive, they just don't understand. And so again, as you develop your leadership skills, you learn how to kind of work with that and help build their belief. So that's really good. I hadn't thought of that. Kara, you mentioned you are senior review. Okay, let's see what that says. I think that my my road to senior review was pretty fast. And so did that within like 6 months. And then I had that kind of cancer thing. Most of you guys know that kind of was a roadblock. But I didn't want it to be a roadblock. I never lost my belief. I never lost my desire. I never lost my push of moving forward. But I know what happened as I sort of look at what happened, and if I could offer something to you guys through that process of going through treatment, even though I was still adding people to my team and I still had a team page, I really wasn't able to feed the momentum of my team. And so a lot of people sort of got lost. And so there was many months, probably between maybe like August and January of 2014, where I just didn't have the events that I needed to be having. I didn't have team calls. I wasn't personally developing because I was going through a major health struggle, and my team was sort of suffering. Everyone was sort of left on their own. And the thing, and John Maxwell talks about the big Mo, the law of momentum. I mean, when you have momentum, you need to just covet that momentum and use the momentum and just feed it. It's like a flame, and you get the fan out, man. You just got to keep fanning that flame. And so if you lose sort of that momentum, it becomes very, very difficult to start over. And so for me personally, I lost my momentum from my early work. You know, when I first started, kind of carried me into the summer, and then I hit a wall. And you'll realize the patterns of this business as you do it. Your work, the effects of your work show up about 3 or 4 months later. Honestly, it's not immediate. So what you do in March, what you're doing in March is going to show up in May. What you do in May is going to show up in September. And that's sort of how our business ebbs and flows. And so when you start to understand those patterns, you can start to track and see, oh wow, I hit a wall in January because of what happened in October and November and December. And so I could offer that, you know, to you guys as you're strategizing and planning your business. Know that maybe even if right now you feel like you're building and you're working so hard and you've got a lot of great stuff going on, but you're not seeing the fruit, just hang tight. The fruit's going to come. It takes a while. What did I do to get over the hump? When I realized, and I kind of woke up and I got through all my treatments and radiation, and it was last spring, I just poured myself into, honestly, personal development. I realized that it was going to take a lot to get my flame going again. And it was going to, and the more I learned about leadership, the more I realized I needed to be constantly looking in the mirror. That was all about self-reflection and who I needed to be for my people. And one of the biggest things I started to really understand that it wasn't about me. It wasn't about my promotions. It wasn't about what I was able to, how many people I was able to get, or how many contests I could win, or if I can meet my own personal goals. It became very much about what I was going to be able to do for the people on my team to raise them up, for them to be successful. And that takes a while to really, and to know your people and to understand their why. And when I say you can't know everybody, but really focus on like your top 20%. And I know you got to go, Amber. She's looking at me like, my call starts in 4 minutes. I understand. I'll finish. So understanding their why, their goals, and then how to build and lift them up and raise them up as leaders. So it becomes no more about like me being a leader and if I can run a great event or I can do something great, but it really becomes about what you're able to, the people that you're able to develop in the process. And so I think that answers your question, Kara. So that's what I did to get through that hump. And I think it took a while. It just took a while to kind of get the momentum going in. And now I have the most wonderful leaders on my team, and they're just going gangbusters, and they don't even need me. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We kind of came to this realization this month. They're like, Dawn, dude, you need to chill out with the contest. We got our own stuff going on now. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm good. I'm not even gonna, I'm just gonna sit back. Y'all go do your thing now. But that takes a while. You have to be willing, and you got to be willing to sacrifice. I'm gonna put this out there too. I wanted this so bad. I wanted this so bad to get to, you know, for me, my cancer journey and my plexus journey were kind of walking in the same way. So much of my success in plexus was a way to say cancer, take this. And so much of beating cancer, plexus, I was using plexus and all the emotional, spiritual, and physical benefits from it. So mine was my why. There was no way that I wasn't going to get to where I wanted to be with plexus, because it was kind of a symbolic thing for me with cancer. So I think that you just keep digging and pouring, and if something isn't working, you don't say, oh, it's just not working, and look and try to blame it on the circumstances of why it's not working. You go, okay, wait a minute. Let me go look back at myself, figure out why it's not working, look in the mirror, and then go do something else. And just constantly be in a space of changing if you need to make it work. Okay, that's all I gotta say. And we took an hour of y'all, but we're really, really glad that you guys all hung out with us tonight. It was really awesome. Thank you. And so I will say, just keep going. I mean, this business, our opportunity is amazing in every single way. We all know that. And even though we're going through some difficult times with the back office and the shipping, and it's frustrating, and I don't think anybody's going to make light of that. It is. But one thing I keep telling my team, I'm like, think of what a pioneers, when you think of that word, what do you think of? You think of the wilderness, hardship. Your pioneers lay the groundwork, and they discover the new territories for the beautiful cities to be built upon. And we are in a position in Plexus. We truly are the pioneers, and it's hard. But that's what you got to get dirty. You got to be okay with getting a little bit dirty and having a little bit of, and you have to sacrifice, because years down the road, we will be the ones that have allowed the beautiful city to be built, and there'll be Plexus ambassadors coming on, and everything will run perfectly and seamlessly, and they won't ever know the difference, but we will, and we'll know that we were part of that, and that pioneer spirit. So I just say, keep your pioneer spirit, you guys, because we're in a great spot. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you so much. Have
Bye,
a good night.
Amy. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.